Hey, we gotta turn off that music. There we go. There we go. We're back in the box. Studio's still a mess. um, Hopefully that's gonna get fixed this weekend. We'll see. We're gonna try to finish off this Jim Lee page. I went for a run before I streamed, and now I'm like all kind of like half sore and also kind of like half chilled out. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know, on my point, on my shit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. I also like haven't prepared anything to talk to you guys about. There's nothing on my mind that wasn't on my mind yesterday, so this may be a quieter, chiller, more subdued stream than you're used to. Let's kick it over to the Photoshop. There you go. Is the fan popping up in the background? It's hot as fuck in Florida. Hold on. Everybody hold on. I turned it on low. All right. Let's see what we got here. This is where we left it. We've done most of the difficult stuff. We should probably make the two captions match with like this yellow. So we got to do Batman, Catwoman up in the top panel. And we gotta do all the bottom panel. But the bottom panel doesn't really seem like it's gonna just sit with a bag of ice on your head. Dude, you're not even far off from like what I was doing before I was on stream. I also feel like, so I've been running again lately. We gotta make the city match this kind of scheme. So we made it all yellow. And we're gonna, I don't know, tweak that, I guess. You're not far off of what I was doing. I feel like every time I go for a run, and maybe it's because like I go for a run, then I come back to the house, and the house is always like the hottest it is from like 2 o'clock to like 5 o'clock. The sun just hits the house in such a way that the studio becomes the hottest room in the house next to my hot computer, and it's just hot. And yeah, so I feel like I can't even cool down like after I'm done with the run. So I actually did have an ice pack on my head earlier today. I know this city stuff is not what you guys are here for. I'm just kind of noodling around before we get into the nitty gritty. You guys love that nitty gritty. I know you do out there. The thing is like I don't want to finish this stuff and then be like, oh, we still have the rest of this. You know, like I want to save the fun stuff for later. So we're gonna try to bang this out. I saw I put this up on in the Discord. That's what you're here for, the nitty gritty? I thought so. You seemed like a nitty gritty person. I don't know what that means. I saw on the Discord, or I posted in the Discord, by the way, Rich Evans, who was the GIF that was in the intro, the dancing guy. He's part of Red Letter Media, and they do movie reviews and stuff. And like he's part of also they do like previously recorded, which is like him and Jack, this other guy, play video games. And they had in the corner of their stream, it's been 0 days since Batman and Catwoman have been married. Or Batman and Catwoman have been married for 0 days. Like one of those accident sites, like this site hasn't had an accident in 300 days or whatever. Yeah. Was a little bit of a low blow. A little bit. I know a lot of people were counting on that wedding emotionally, and also with money. So sorry about that. As if I have anything to do with it. More nitty than gritty, really. Yeah. I hear you. I read a bunch of comics last night. I read the new Catwoman. Speaking of Batman and Catwoman, we're having like a whole themed DC Batman Catwoman thing. I caught up on Detective Comics, which I've been really enjoying. They just switched writers, and the new stuff's really good. I don't know what the old stuff was. I jumped on when the arc stopped, but they're like, I think 2 or 3 issues into the new stuff, and I've been enjoying it. We are trying to make this a little more subdued. Like, all the stuff in the bottom panel is basically just dressing for this, the text. Like, when you're working on a page like this, basically this is the money shot. This is the time. This is where you want to put your time. And then this last panel is like, oh, it's also a comic book page, so we gotta do all this stuff too. Like, nobody's excited about this bottom panel. So you kind of end up with what you end up with. We are going to put a little night sky back there. I got a little textury brush. We're probably going to have to desaturate it, put some stars in. We'll see. Nightwing, by the way, got out today. Today was do or die, ride or die. And it happened. You're welcome. You're welcome. I did my job correctly. You're welcome. You've been blaming me from the start. Rough, Fake McCoy. We're kind of like doing like a faux smoky cloud thing. So one of the things that I noticed in Detective Comics, I don't know who's coloring that. I probably should have known this before coming on stream. But the person who's coloring Detective Comics, Twitch don't give me a ding dong. Twitch didn't give you a ding dong. They should have. You should be plenty ding donged. The Detective Comics, the person who is coloring that adds a ton of photos to their work in order to like speed up the process. Like, they will add, one of the things that I thought was particularly clever was and this is something that's always bothered me when I'm working in with cityscapes, is they will take a cityscape. I gotta figure this out. Hold on. We might need to do this on a different level, which means we gotta deselect the black. Okay. I gotta, cause like we want to do night sky, but this is like way too many stars. And also, I don't know if they should be that blue. I'm figuring it out. Yeah, they started adding photos to a lot of stuff. And they do this thing where, like, if it's a reflection of a building and it's a glass building, they will put a photo of another building in the glass, and it looks like the building in the glass is, like, you know, reflected, like it's the other side of the street or like behind you or whatever. And like normally I'm like hard and fast against putting photos into comic book pages. Like, I feel like 99% of the time when I see photos in comic book pages, it just looks really bad. And if you're just starting to get into comics in general and you're like trying to find your way, I would say don't put photos in. Like, we're going to talk about it right now, but don't do it. Like, because chances are you don't have the experience of seeing things in print, and you don't have the, like, it's just like, it's a tough thing to pull off well. It's really hard. Because a lot of times it just looks like a drawing on top of a photograph, which is like never really where you want to be. And like most of the time it'll take you and like rip you out of the narrative. On top of that, the photograph, oh, we deselected there. Oh, thanks, Lasso. On top of that, like the photograph will usually pull you out of the narrative. In addition to that, what I just said, the photograph will look like this fully rendered, beautifully sculpted, you know, like thing next to flat colors. You know what I mean? Like, part of the reason why I think some of these pictures or some of this stuff worked so well, and you know what? Since I'm talking about it so much, I'm gonna boot it up real quick. We can just click into Comixology because I'm reading digital now. Click into my books. Oh my God, we gotta sign in, I guess. This is one of the advantages to Comixology, is that like we can just jump into stuff. So this is Detective Comics 984. Let's get into what I was talking about. So we find a good panel, a good page. So like this page in particular, the person who's we should actually figure out the colorist's name too. This is such a shit show. Oh God, it's gonna bring me all the way back to the cover. This is a shit show. Don't look at any of this. Let me figure out who's the colorist on this goddamn book. Adriano Lucas is the colorist. So there was one panel in particular that I thought like really clicked well. So one of the things that they do in order to make this like work really well is they add like a lot of like film grain, and maybe this will look better if we're able to do guided view. Yeah. So they add a lot of like, you can see it in this, there's like a lot of like grain in here, so that when you start to use, so you're setting up the visual language of it. Like, photographs are grainy. That's just what they are. And when you jump into like this background's a photograph, but because we're already primed for like, you know, this kind of like grainy look, you don't even notice it. Like you're just like, oh, that's fine. And granted, it's like screened or multiplied down, and like, you know, that kind of thing. I'm trying to find a place where they used a photograph. Like this sky is a photograph, and I feel like it's done to like pretty great. Like, I haven't seen photographs incorporated in a way that makes me not hate it in like forever, and I feel like they did a pretty good job. I've been building my own star fields like an idiot, like, and this person was just like, well, I'm just gonna like figure out how to do it myself. Like, they're doing in the backgrounds here, in the backgrounds, these are like photographs with the cutout filter applied to them, and then like faded kind of like into the background with a little bit of color. And like this stuff, like these are blank panels. Like all this stuff is stuff that the colorist is doing to create environment, to create sense of space. That's like really interesting. There again, like put like their own little star field up there. copy paste photograph in there, like gradient, like done. I'm gonna try to find where was it? Man, maybe it was in the previous issue, but there was like one place in particular. Yeah, it was in the previous issue. Anyway, we're gonna jump back into this. It was in the previous issue, but like they used a photograph in the reflection of the building, and it like that sky looks like it's got hella K. Maybe you don't know much about comic art, but this shit is fascinating in general. Yeah, man, this is like behind the scenes. Like, let's dissect how this works. It might have hella K. I don't know what it looks like in print compared to you know, me reading it on my tablet. K-tones are the black levels in the art. This is everything that gets printed is cyan, magenta, yellow, black. So photographs will normally have a lot of black in them, and so your K-tones are probably going to go a little nuts. Let's knock out this background. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because lately I've been like kind of knocking myself out trying to paint in a bunch of background, and I'm getting faster, as you just saw when I painted in like this star field. But like I painted in a couple like cloud things on the realm, and you know, I actually cut and pasted some of the, don't tell Jeremy, I cut and pasted some of the cloudscapes that I made from the realm into this latest issue of Nightwing. And the reason for that is like I'm just trying to save time. And it actually made me think that like, so that person is using photographs. They are, and like it looks good. What they're doing looks fine. It's not something that I would do, but it's definitely like they're not out of line. Like it looks professional. It looks good. Are we just on the line art? Hold on. Yes, we were. I was trying to get that warm glow on the bottom, and it was just affecting the lines. Trying to get that street level glow, but we want to clip it out of the rooftop that Batman's running on. I almost called him Bruce Wayne. I almost gave you Batman's true identity. Sorry about that. Oh God, I apologized for it, and I did it. I'm sorry. Bruce Wayne is not Batman. Don't worry about it. He's definitely, I mean, like, of all the people it could be, he's definitely top 5, but, like, probably not him. Don't worry about it. Please. Did you know that Dracula is Alucard backwards? Oh my God. Stream, you're blowing my mind right now. But it got me thinking about, and this is why I feel like my comic game is a little more on point these days than it has been in the past, is that, so that got me thinking about like, okay, this person's sitting on some starscapes and stuff, and that photographs that they're using, and I don't know why colorists can't like have these kind of like stat stuff that they just drop in. Namtab is Batman then, right? Oh yeah, the Batman's arch enemy and son, Namtab. So yeah, it got me thinking about like I recently cut and pasted some you know, cloudscapes into a background, and I was like, man, if I'm already doing that, like, why don't I just have like 4 or 5 like painted cloudscapes ready to go, so I can just like drop it in. And I honestly don't have a reason for you like why I haven't done that already. Like, it's taken me 15 years to figure that that out, apparently. By the way, this is knocked out the line art. This is a Catwoman flipping in the air. Traditionally, you kind of make like one more faded than the other. So we're going to try to do that. And by making it more faded, I don't know if that necessarily works. It might have to go the other direction. Because she's getting darker as she goes. Light, medium, dark kind of thing. But then we kind of like lose her. Maybe we let's figure this out. Maybe we just lighten up this one with a blue and not a white. Yeah, there we go. We can paint in this this smoke, but I actually don't think we really need to. There's so much going on this page that I don't think anybody's going to be like, well, you didn't paint in the smoke, so I don't know. I don't think that's going to be anybody's problem. So let's just like knock out the smoke, colorize the line art, and then I'm going to call the bottom panel done. But yeah, so it got me thinking about like, you know, what kind of stuff I should put into my arsenal, you know, like what kind of stuff should I have on hand ready to go? And I was thinking about like cloudscapes, starscapes, you know, maybe some kind of like street view would be good, just to like drop into the background sometimes. Maybe some buildings, just kind of like general stuff. And I know that like if you're a fan of Michael Avon Oeming's, Bruce Wayne was Batman, but then I visited him and he was drinking champagne with a hooker, so you were like, nah. Yeah, that's Bruce Wayne. He crashes Ferraris and does ladies, so he can't be Batman. Those things are mutually exclusive. Comics, why are you so ridiculous? It's like somebody had that idea in 1945 and then like we're just running with it into 2018. It's so stupid. Please don't think too much about comic books and also keep buying them, please. Yeah. So I don't know. I've been thinking about that lately, and we might do after Inktober, Clark Kent slouches and wears glasses, so he can't be Superman. Yeah. There's no way. Comic books. So we got a little smoke going. We could even throw like a like quick gradient of color in there. Just bottom to top. Set to screen. Are we coloring the lines that we just put down? Yeah, I think we are. Yeah, we definitely are. Oh my god. The lines we put down were bad. I gotta figure out how to do this. There we go. There we go. Alright. I had to do some mental gymnastics to figure out like what I was selecting and what was unselected and try to get to this point to throw this grad in that doesn't make any difference at all. Okay, bottom panel's done. Also, I don't know if it's canon for Catwoman to have like these rosy glasses. But can he fly? Yeah. But I like the rosy glasses, so we're gonna keep it. That's the thing. This is my time. Twitch, this is my time. So alright. We did this whole bottom panel. No tablet. All mouse. Boom. Let's get into the real deal, though. Let's get into that nitty gritty. Goonie Nick. Hey, Aga. Hey, Aga. What's up? You have a backwards name as well, or maybe not. I don't know. Your name is pretty intense. Whoop, I bumped the mic. I hope you guys couldn't hear that. If you could, please don't tell anybody. All right, let's color these humans. All right, so they're already dark. They're already like pretty dark on the page. Let's see actually how dark they are. 83, 75, 45. So that's like roughly 200-ish. I mean, they could get a little bit darker than that, like kind of get closer to 300, but I think if we get it closer to 300, they might actually start, like, you can't hear anymore. Oh, you're messing with me. Consider myself messed with. If we get it closer to 300, the thing is the ink limit is 300. So the closer we get to 300, the more they're going to start to look all the same. That mic bumper? Fuck no. No one can pronounce it right. I hope that I at least, I mean, I was just going to say I can give it a shot, but I'm already backing away from that statement. Yeah. So since they're already so close to 300, if I try to make them darker and get closer to 300, basically the difference between like the belt and Batman and his gloves and everything are going to get, that difference is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller as we approach 300%. So I would prefer to have those differences rather than like, you know, get darker and darker and darker. So since they are already dark, usually I work light to dark, but we are going to work dark to light, which means let's figure out what we're doing for light sources. And I don't know if you guys remember in the beginning of the previous stream, but we were talking about how like Rico suggested that we do like a rim light, and like what I had said was that I didn't really want to do that. And part of the reason was we've set up a situation where the background is like separate from the foreground. The characters in the foreground are so different than what's going on in the background that like we don't have to rim light. They're already like if you look at it at a distance, they're already like pretty separate. So we've already like done our job as far as like separating the planes. So what we have to do now I'm not like, if we hadn't done that, if that hadn't been successful, you would need to rim light the characters because you would need a visual kind of cue to let the reader know like this is where Batman's leg ends and the city begins, you know? But we don't need to do that. So because of that, we get a lot more freedom when we get to like render Batman here. So we can kind of just do whatever the hell we want. So let's do that. I'm just gonna like pull out these like muscle groups that Jim put down that I assume are real muscle groups. I've been sketching a lot lately and I'm like starting to wrap my mind around like what muscles look like, but this doesn't make any sense to me at all. It's like rib cage, and then this is like a whole, is this a back muscle? I don't even know. Jim Lee's kind of like blowing my mind. One of the advantages to like coloring is that you really get into like the nuts and bolts of what is happening with like the art that you work on. And you can learn a lot of like tips and tricks because of that. I feel like I have a better sense now than when I got out of college of like what finished line art kind of like looks like. You never know where your leg ends. Yeah. Is that the Earth? Is that Ziggy? Who knows? um, so yeah, and I feel like that's just because I've been looking at line art for like 15 years now. And all we're doing is kind of just selecting where we want highlights to be. This is going to be like our rough guidepost when we start to like actually get a little painterly with the rendering. And I'm kind of like a little bit all over the place, kind of just basically tracing what Jim has put down here. You know, it's not rocket science. It's just comic books. It's just good old Bruce Wayne. I mean Batman. It's just good old Batman. Bruce Wayne's gonna kick my. I mean Batman's gonna kick my ass. So yeah, you just kind of want to like, I don't know, trace out where you think the highlights are, and like basically the human body is all just like lumpy cylinders. If you're out there in the Twitchverse and you're watching this right now, or YouTube or whatever, if you're a human being, guess what? You're made of lumpy cylinders. Look down, look to your left, look to your right. Half of you are lumpy cylinders. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Don't tell Nick a secret. He cannot keep them. I love Tony Stark. He's my favorite man bat. Yeah, clearly, if you tell me the secret identity, I will broadcast it. I won't even tell anyone. I'm not telling like a person. I'm just like, you know, when it comes to coloring, if I'm focused on coloring, then like the filter is off, which means all secrets pouring out. You're definitely more lump than cylinder. Yeah. But if you think about like the way a cylinder is rendered, this is my whole point. Fucking lawn guys are like next to the window. This happened before. So we put down like a light blue. We're just gonna set it to screen, and then figure out like what percent we want. Like 39 seems fine. This seems like a good place to start. So if you think about a cylinder, all right, we're gonna do a quick little draw right here on our new layer. You think about Batman's lumpy cylinder arm, right? Cylinder. This is Batman's lumpy cylinder arm. He's got his little things on the side. This is his glove, I guess. You're gonna like, if it's just getting like, is someone mowing the house itself? Yeah, I'm sure it sounds like that. If you're just like having light hit it like from whatever direction, you'll like have light like coming down like this. You're gonna have like highlight, and then you're gonna have shadow. Well, we can pick a different color for shadow. Shadow, and then you're gonna have like bounce light. That's kind of like a mix of the light and shadow. So like this is kind of what it's gonna look like. And the idea is that this is an approximation of like, you know, a perfectly crafted, perfectly rendered like gradient, you know, like this kind of thing. Like this is like if it was perfect, this is like a perfect cylinder with like maybe like a hard highlight or something up here, maybe like that. Like think about like a can of Coke. We're basically doing that, but like make it lumpy, and then we're doing that to Batman. And then maybe like, you know, the bounce highlight, like light bouncing from whatever's down here up into his arm. Like this is basically where you want your head at. And like however you choose to make this kind of like approximation is like where you kind of end up with the rendering the human form. So like with that in mind, we have to look at this. You're telling me Batman is a soda can. Pepsi Man? Yeah. Basically, Batman is Pepsi Man. Oh, I cannot keep a secret. I can't keep a secret. Internally, DC Comics has shared hundreds of documents that proves that Batman's gonna be revealed to be Pepsi Man in the next 10 years. It's part of Tom King's run. It's part of the Batcan universe. You guys are gonna really enjoy it. I'm sorry I spoiled it. I'm sorry. Oh my god. This is what happens when I don't come with anything prepared to talk about. So, this is kind of like the roadmap for where we want to start, but like, okay. The rendering's just like kind of open. There's like a little bit of bounce light stuff happening under the arm and like around the leg here and then around the boot. That's happening. And like, you know, around here a little bit. And that's going to be like little rim light kind of stuff, maybe around the cowl. But like other than that, we kind of can do whatever we want. Like the leg down here is rendered just as much as the shoulder up here. What we're going to try to figure out is like, all right, do we want the viewer? Where do we want the viewer? He's saying Catwoman. He's saying a phrase. We probably want the viewer at his face. We probably do not want the viewer at his knees. You know, like the knee is not where we want people to be like looking. We don't want people to be like, oh, Batwoman's knees just yelled at Catwoman. Like that's not where you want your head. So in order to do that, you want the highest highlights up here. So we're just gonna take this screen and kind of like doodle in some higher highlights. And like I said, this is like super loose. We are not even, this isn't even the right layer. The Coke can fucked me up. I got so flustered revealing DC's internal documents to you that I forgot we were on the wrong layer. You call it a callback. I call it I only have one joke. I saw Pepsi Man with a champagne and a hooker, and you were like, nah, he's not Batman. We don't have to be that precise. So, and we can use like a grittier kind of brush if we want. Like this is like a charcoal-y kind of brush. Adds a little bit of tooth, a little bit of texture. And we can kind of like pop it in there. One of the things that I like about using blue for Batman here is that it goes it's opposite on the color wheel to all the orange that we put on the background, and it's also a callback to you know, like the blue and gray kind of like Batman suit. Anytime that we can inject a callback, I love it. So like I put like a ton of highlight there, but we can kind of just like carve it down a little bit, and we can kind of like put a little more shadow in. See, this is not hard. Anyone can do this. Put a little shadow in, and then like maybe throw a gradient through it, through the leg. And then maybe pull a color up here, put it as a highlight. Yeah. It's looking nice, looking nice. let's try to make the torso read less flat. And the way we're going to do that is to make it look like the furthest part from the viewer. Batcan. Oh no. It's been clipped. Have you thought about making Batman hot pink? I've always thought about that. It's crazy how much a minor change can draw your eyes. Yeah, man. That's like the whole game when it comes to coloring. I presumed your gender right there. I apologize. But yes. I'm just going to start referring to everyone as my dude. Regardless of gender. It's no judgment. You guys are all my dudes. So like by making this a little bit darker on this side and kind of like throwing that grad through, we're kind of like entering a space where like this is lit and this is not. And if you look, we can kind of like render a little bit, or I can show you where my head is at. I'm thinking about this whole arm like, okay, this is kind of like the top of the arm. This is going to get a little bit of highlight here, a little bit of highlight here. And then like this is like the top. And then you have like a side here. So it looks kind of like this. This kind of like simple shape is like kind of what Batman's torso is doing. Fake McCoys to bring back the bat nipples though. My dude, gender assumption resolved. Yeah. Everyone is now my dude. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're going to try to embrace. And one of the things that's going to like, you know, like kind of drive that home is if we put in kind of like a line like that, like through Batman that reads as like almost like a corner. Like we're almost making Batman into an IKEA table, which is really where you want to be. Like the sooner that you turn Batman into, and we're on the screen level again, aren't we? The sooner you turn Batman into an IKEA table, the sooner like your coloring can really get to the next level. There's nothing useful in this stream. I call everyone my dude and it's dangerous in 2018. Yeah. I was same. It's tough to, it's one of those things that's like once you start saying my dude, it's really difficult to stop. But and like not only that, but it's like it's Wednesday, my dude, is like one of my favorite things. And it's Wednesday once a week. So my dude is always in my mind. My dude. You're going to base all your coloring only on tips from this stream. Yeah. Good. You'll be fine. Yeah, so let's kind of smooth this out. We're a little bit all over the place. And kind of smooth some of this out. Yeah, so only the right side is going to get like some nice like hard highlights. And we can go actually brighter than this, which we probably will. And if it's looking like too saturated, like this is looking like very blue, you can always desaturate it. It's no big deal. Color balance is your friend. Not only color balance, but just like straight up hue and saturation. Like tweak that stuff, no problem. Yeah, Swedish Batman. Yeah, you want to clip that IKEA comment, but mobile's clipping is too painful. I feel you. A lot of times when I'm mobile clipping, I hate it because you like the mobile clipping like takes you away from the stream too, and it loads so slow. But yeah, so I'm thinking about if you're an artist, by the way, and you are want to get noticed, Inktober is coming, and if I were you, I know it seems October seems like it's a long time away, but it's not. And if I were you, I'd like prep a bunch of stuff to do for Inktober. Like I'd prep a bunch of pencils. That's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm trying to get 30 penciled things in the can for Inktober. And I want to do that so that I can participate in Inktober. But after that, I was thinking about doing a lot of, for the sketchbook challenge, little things that you can do to stat in, like clouds and stuff, like what we were talking about before. So I might step away from the sketchbook and start stepping into like digital painting a little bit after October. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, Batman's looking good, but he's looking very, very blue. So we're gonna change that before we add in the rim light highlight that Rico was talking about and that Jim drew into the drawing. You always want to kind of like roll with what an artist put down. If you like try to fight with what an artist put down, it never works. You really like, comics is about kind of like rolling with the punches. If you're not rolling with the punches, if you're trying to like cram it into what you normally do, you're never gonna like, A, you're not gonna grow, B, you're gonna make a bad product, and C, it's gonna be really difficult to make that bad product. So yeah, let's just use saturation in this thing. You got your Inktober all planned out this year? Nice. Gonna try to make a little story this year? Nice, dude. That's awesome. You think you'll get to page 10 before giving up? Don't give up. Rally. I don't like how that looks. Maybe we should... Let's figure this thing out. Green? No. 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 Maybe we tone the highlights down. Whoa. Whoa, Batman's getting like weird day glow. Maybe this plus this. And maybe like hue shift it. What is happening? What is happening? I didn't sign up for this. Okay, so the problem I'm having is that the shadows are red and the highlights are blue, and there's like such a huge range. That it's like kind of affecting everything. We can just slightly desat. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna say that we goofed and just wash the thing with a little bit of gray. Just to tone it down, and then we're gonna re-render a little bit. Re-render a little bit. Your team plaid? Yeah. Oh god. Hot pink cough cough cough. Watching the stream, you realize you only own one Batman comic and you feel terrible about it? Don't feel terrible. But you're way into Teen Titans and Umbrella Academy Doom Patrol. You're my demographic. Yeah, you're all good. A nice casual, easy on the eyes plaid. Oh God. All right, let's pick like a more desaturated. In fact, what if we did yellow and we just like dropped it in the shoulder? Oh, oh. Is this where we want to be? Maybe this is where we want to be. Little yellow in the shoulder, kind of looks all right. Let's kind of smooth this out a little. Figure out what we're doing. So here's the thing about superhero comics. Everything kind of looks like it has like an oily sheen on it, and I resisted that for a long time, but it's like it's kind of what people want. I don't know. So we're putting the oily sheen on. This is how people do it. They take a very muscly guy, they dip it in oil, and then you're good to go. All right, we kind of oily sheened up his shoulder, which I think is pulling enough direction to the face. We're gonna start messing with the face in a second, but I also want to throw in this this crazy ass rim light that we got going on here. We're just gonna pop it in, see how it looks. Part of the reason why we're not getting a huge dynamic range, and like not getting a huge dynamic range is fine, is because we're working so dark. Like, we were not careful with that selection. So light would be less here and more on the edge. So we can kind of communicate that with just dragging a gradient through it. This recipe sounds appetizing. Whoa. I'm catching up with chat. I'm getting sucked into what we're doing. Would suggest Long Halloween, Dark Victory for Batman comics. Those are perfect places to start. I would start with Long Halloween, Dark Victory are good places to start. I would say, Dark Knight Returns is also a great place. Batman Year One is fantastic. Gosh, I have a strong affinity for Knight's End, Knight's Quest, but I understand that is not where most people live as far as like recommendations. I would also say that a lot of people really love Sean Murphy's White Knight. I've only read the first issue, and it's guys, can I confess something? It's weird when you like know a person and then they do something like that, and then everyone's like, this is great Batman books, and then like you open it and you just, it's hard to immerse yourself. Maybe this is just me, but like it's difficult for me to immerse myself into some type of media that a friend of mine made, because all I do is, especially with someone as clear voiced as Sean Murphy, it like all I read is him. Like, I don't read Batman. I just like, oh, this is just Sean talking, like that's kind of how it is for me. So I don't know if I can't tell, like I can't objectively tell. I'm not starting beef. I'm like, we went to college together. Like, I've known him forever. I'm not starting beef. I'm saying that, like, when you know somebody, it's hard at least for me, to separate art from the artist. I don't know if you guys have that problem. This is actually one of the discussions that I like having with other artists. If they feel like you know, they have an easy time with that, or if that's difficult. Because I get like kind of all different ranges, and like people would be like, well, this but not this, but this but not this, and it's I don't know, it's kind of wild. All right, this is not. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I want the chest to go darker here. Yeah, maybe we just need to like suck it up and do it. Oh, we're using like this like bad spongy brush. Yeah, let's suck it up and do it. Like get a little dark on Batman's weird lumpy body. Everything's lumpy. Court of Owls is also really good. Thank you, Steve Cannon. I loved that arc. Year 2 is bad. I haven't read Year 2. It's harder to judge comics from your friends, especially if you read first drafts. Yeah, I get that. It's like, man, it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It's not like I don't support it. Like, I've read Sean Murphy books, but it's also weird, in particular with Batman, because, like, I am a Batman fan, and, like, I have headcanon and things that I would associate with Batman in creating Batman. And, like, White Knight is obviously, like, Sean's clear voice and clear vision, and it's just, like, not really what I would do. So it's, like, it also feels like a missed opportunity, not because it's bad, but just because it's not what I would want. I don't know. It's like a weird... I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't know if this is a great looking Batman, to be completely honest. What we're working on right now, it's like, it still kind of like feels off. Especially, like maybe the highlight is like too bright. We're going to try to tweak it. I'm going to try something drastic in a minute. Once I've selected all of Batman. Give me that leg bone. What if we just like drop the saturation like crazy, and then yes, this is what we wanted to do. So if you missed that, I basically dropped the saturation to like nothing. Hey Mark, what's up? I'm catching up on chat. The Court of Owls is actually what you have, Light Sleeper. Nice. It's a good one. It's hard to judge comics from your friends. Yeah. You have a weird thing for outrageous comics like Howard the Duck. Yeah, man. You and I would get along. You should see my comic collection. It's like basically anything that's ridiculous, I own. I try to like cut the mundane stuff out and get to the weird stuff. I like the weird stuff. It's kind of my bread and butter. You really like Snyder writing Grayson as Batman. Yeah, Grant Morrison's run on Batman and Batman and Robin was always good. Yeah. You always thought of The Long Halloween as year 2? Yeah, it's kind of early in Batman's career. So would it be bad for you to lighten up his face? Oh yeah, we're gonna get to there. We haven't gotten there yet. Thanks, Mark. It's looking good. Yeah, we're trying to get there. So we're gonna do details on the boots and his mask and face, and then try to figure out this whole cape situation, and the belt. Obviously, let's figure out the belt. Did we we goofed some of the line art? Oh. I gotta think about this for a second. We goofed some of the line art in Batman, which might be why is contributing to like why I feel like it looks a little weird. Because we're not getting the full dynamic range of the inks. Yeah, weird. We must have accidentally colored on top. It's alright, we can fix it. This is like super fixable. No big deal. Alright. Alright, let's work on the belt. And then we're gonna work on the rest of them. The actual year 2 story is Batman with a gun looking for... Oh, that's not where you want your Batman. Even though he did have a gun when he was like first created, like the canon of Batman is so much different. It's in just like a different place now, and it's so divorced from that like it's tough to be like, yeah, but this was like this in the, you know, like you can't, if you don't have any knowledge of Batman, then you don't have like that jumping off point. So it's kind of weird to talk about. This looks weird. This looks too blue. Yeah, too blue. Now we're getting there. So in throwing that yellow through the art, we're doing a couple things. So I threw that yellow highlight in. The belt is supposed to read as yellow, but we're like at night, we're night sky, and it's like reading as this like greenish color, this like desaturated blue green right here, but then like this color is reading as orange, also very desaturated, but like, so the yellow interacted in the highlight to bring up the highlight, and it still retained its blue tone, and then the yellow also reacted in the shadow to give you that yellow kind of color. A lot of times, and I did this a lot in the latest Nightwing, the whole like last scene of Nightwing in 47 is like them underground, and like you can kind of get away with like gray skin as long as it's like warm in the shadow, and that's kind of what we're doing here with the belt too. Like it's a little warmer in the shadow. Have you ever seen Bruce Wayne with a gun? yeah, right. I've only seen him with hookers and crashing Ferraris. He's definitely not Batman. That's for sure. That's the only thing I'm sure about. You know, I used to make fun of the Superman glasses thing, but then like, did you know what Batman is missing? 100 more pouches. So we can just take this and just Photoshop it all over him. I kind of want to do that. We can't spend our time that way. I spit on the screen. Everything's a disaster. I saw there was a series where Bruce died and his dad becomes Batman and his mom becomes a Joker. Oh my god, that sounds nuts. Yeah, one of the 3 mini-series in Flashpoint. Repeat everything. Well, your one joke got called out again while you were gone. I've never seen Batman with a gun. I mean, I've never seen Bruce Wayne with a gun. I mean, I have seen Bruce Wayne with a gun. I don't know how this joke works. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to separate art and artist. This is looking odd. Let's make it not look odd. I also blue and gray Batman is near and dear to my heart. In case you can't tell from what we're doing right now, yeah, blue and gray Batman all day. You're not talking about champagne and hookers, yeah. The good old. The second I see fake McCoy with champagne and hookers, I'm gonna suspect he's fighting crime on the side. From all this insisting. All right, let's fix the skin tone, I guess. Kind of make, we're supposed to be like, he's communicating, so we're supposed to put, we're supposed to be here with the face. So, I mean, we don't have to bring it up too much. And like I said, if we warm up the skin tone here, we don't have to warm it up that much. We can just warm it up a little bit. It'll read a little better. So this is what I was talking about. Like, reads his skin tone. Black and gray all day. No, man, blue and gray. Batman, but he's just a tool belt and a fanny pack. Is that teeth? Oh yeah, that's teeth. But this is what I was talking about. So this is the color for like the dark part of him. It's obviously in the warm range, and this is the color for the light part of him. It's in like the cooler range. It's like this gray. So like this dynamic here reads his skin tone in like darkness. Oh man, I'm getting real noodly. We needed those 12 pixels to be colored that way. This is all coming from a place of like, I said this before, like Nightwing comes out and then people view it in guided view, and like my style, my process is so painterly that like I don't get every single pixel, like I am kind of like painting in a little off the beaten path, and then when you zoom in, it like when you make something like this is we're currently like double size. When you see this in guided view, it's like that, and you're like, ugh, what's going on? Hey, sweets. Shannon is home from work. All right. So we don't want to put too much highlight on the... We don't want to do like a ton of highlights on the boots because you miss Froby. I've changed it to Robbie because that might be an actual word. We don't have to put too many highlights on the boots because we want you up here. All right, let's figure out this cape. Cape is going to be tough because it just is. Like, there's all this like texture and stuff going on in it, but like it's going to be hard to make that make sense. I think maybe we can just take a screen through it. Like, I kind of don't even want to mess with it beyond that. Like, I'd kind of want it to just be a shape, but since this is a Jim Lee book, he put a bunch of stuff here, so we got to kind of roll with that. My general rule is like, if an artist puts something down, so this is the problem, is like down here it blends, up here it looks like a highlight. if an artist drew something, chances are that is like you gotta deal with it. Like they took the time to draw it, you gotta take the time to deal with it. At least that's my opinion. I'm sure other colorists would disagree. You would just delete the cape. Yeah, we're just done. If we delete the cape, though, that means we have to digital paint some more background, which is probably a lot worse. Let's be honest. It's probably a lot more work. So we're kind of making the cape like ripple kind of thing by putting in these like lights and shadows and stuff. But we're trying to be as loosey-goosey with it as possible. And trying to be as not using like a ton of range of value. Like there's like a lot of range of value in the chest, and we don't want to pull away from that. And also, when you don't use a ton of range of value, when you use just like a little bit, like even that was just like too much. When you use just like a little bit of range of value, you end up not having to be as accurate. Because the human eye will like fill in details. We got to do the other side. Never mind. Make the cape twice as big. Whole background cape. Hot pink plaid. Yeah, I think I've seen that Batman costume, right? The hot pink plaid cape. Sure, that's a thing. You would never. Chat would never steer me wrong, right? Chat. Chat would never steer me wrong and then share a hot pink plaid cape with Jim Lee. That would never happen. Be like, did you see what Nickfil already did? All right, I think that is good enough for the cape. We got Catwoman left, and then we're like pretty much done. Let's kind of add a little bit of rendering to the water tower, just because it probably needs a little bit of rendering. Like it doesn't need anything crazy. I'm really just like pulling the color that's already there and adding like a little bit of texture with this like toothy kind of brush. I mean, Batman wears red Converse, so that's just a small detail. You're gonna tag him, yeah. I'm gonna tag Jim when we're done with this, because I think this is coming out pretty good. But you know, we're gonna wait till we get there before judgment. A lot of things can go wrong between here and there. Let's throw a little painterly details in here, and like I said, this kind of stuff is not where the eye is going to be. Like when you zoom out, it's like, oh, where do I want you? Right here, you know. And then you see Catwoman, and it's going to be like right here. It's probably going to be your butt. So you don't have to like really get into a lot of detail with the extra stuff. And then these are the darkest parts of the panel. I said this in the beginning. This was our intention all along. These are the darkest parts of the panels of the background, non-characters. So it kind of creates this like angular flow, like that just points you straight down. Like this whole page just moves straight down. And that's what you wanted. That's what you want. You want to think about that kind of stuff when you start working with this kind of thing. Start working with color. You're making narrative choices even when you don't even realize you're making narrative choices, and it's terrifying. And you just kind of roll with it. You get terrified till you're not terrified, and then, I don't know. And then you learn a little bit more, and then you're terrified all over again. We're going to tell him what you said. Jim's a good dude, actually. I don't know if I ever told you guys, I only got to really meet Jim once. I don't know if I've told this story on stream, but I was like a nobody. Like, I had nothing in print. I think I had one thing that was about to be in print. And I kind of like, I was at a Comic-Con and I kind of like conned my way. If you're not terrified, it's probably not worth doing. Yeah. I was at a Comic-Con, and like one of the things with Comic-Cons, especially when you're starting out, is like, you're like, how do I get into like the cool party, the cool dinner? Like, how do I infiltrate like these things? Because if I make the right connection, then I'll just get work, which is like not really how it works. But anyway, you think these things when you're starting out. And I was the same, and I had a buddy of mine that I was working with at the time, who spent years before he started doing comics just like hanging out with comics people in New York, and Jim was one of those people. And he was like, hey, I'm thinking about going to this dinner with Jim Lee. And I was like, I can also go to that. Like, I'm available. And I am this like 20, I want to say I was like 22. So like fresh faced right out of college. I actually like, I talked to a kid who is, I say kid, but like I talked to a young man who was 22 and fresh out of SCAD. And I was like, holy shit, was I ever that young? Like, not that, you know, he was doing anything wrong or whatever, but like, I was just like, man. And like, I have kind of a younger face anyway. So anyway, I'm sure I looked like a kid, is my point. And my friend was like, yeah, I guess you can like come to this thing. And so we went to, and this was in New York City, we went to like Jim's studio in New York City, met him there, which was already kind of a fucking mind trip. And I was just like, I don't know what to say to anyone. Like, what? I was so like deer in headlights to the whole situation. All your retailer publisher interactions, no one has ever seemed as legitimately sincerely interested in what was being said as Jim Lee. Yeah, man. So I'm getting to that. So here I am, like, you know, deer in headlights in Jim Lee's studio, and he's like just trying to like get something done before leaving for dinner. And you know, he's like shuffling some stuff around, and he's like, oh, I gotta upload these files, you know, no big deal. So we're like hanging out waiting for him, and it's like me and I want to say like 6 other people, something like that. And so we start walking to the restaurant, and like, you know, like I said, I don't have any credits to my name. Like, I'm not and I'm not anybody, you know, like there's no reason that like anyone should like take time out of their day to spend time with me, because I was like, yo, I'm just a guy. I'm just like there, you know? But Jim, like, we were going to the restaurant, and Jim, and I was like hanging out in the back of the crowd, and he was like, he came to the back of the crowd and was like, hey, what's your name? And I was like, Nick. And he was like, cool. He's like, what do you do? And like, was genuinely interested, like was like we just like shot the shit, and then we get to the restaurant and he's like what do you drink? And I was like 21 and only really drank like beer and stuff, and I was like, oh, you know, like I just kind of drink beer, I don't really do shots. And he was like, that's bullshit, you're gonna sit with me. And people who only care about people who are someone's are the worst. Yeah, I know. And this is like, this story, I feel like this moment like changed or like set the stage to like my mentality of that. Like, people who only care about people who are someone, quote unquote, are the worst. Like, yes, 100% agree with you. So like, this meant a lot to me. And he was like, we're gonna do shots, like we're gonna do tequila, let's do it. And then he like ordered shots, and then he was like, we took the shots, and then Jim, I like downed it, and then since I was like a college kid, chased it like immediately with something. And Jim was like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, you gotta let it burn, we're doing another round of shots right now. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm not gonna survive this. And I'm just like internally just panicking. But he was like one of the nicest people to me, and he like just did not have to be as kind as he was. And since then, I've kind of resolved to try to do the best of my ability of the same, you know. I try not to like snub anyone at Comic Cons. This is making you love Jim Lee way more. Yeah, he's really great. So that was the only time that I've actually really gotten to like hang out with him. But it was great. And this was like I said, it was 22, so this was like 14 years ago. I don't know if he even remembers this, but like, yeah, it definitely like made an impact on me and made me realize that like we're all part of like a comics community, and just because you're not someone now doesn't mean you can't be someone in the future. And like beyond that, it's not even like, you know, you can always learn from the people around you. And like the minute you start to be like closed off to new experiences and new people, like you're doing yourself a disservice. Like beyond socially, like what it did for me and my self-esteem, and like how it kind of like projected me through the year and all that, and like set the stage for being like a warm, welcoming person. Like I think Jim had a sense of like where his like clout within the industry and how important it is to like set yourself aside and like, you know, kind of like do this stuff. And I, you know, yeah, it was just amazing. It was great. I don't know if Jim remembers it or not, but it meant a lot to me at the time and still does. You've had such a similar experience last month. No drinking involved, but met your idol who was a guitarist. He was such an awesome, genuine dude and changed my view of musicians and people in general. Yeah. Jim has zero ego. And that's the thing, is like, I feel like if you want to get good, like it can't be about ego, basically. Like within comics, if you like wrap up your ego into I was always pretty much a teddy bear, but if you wrap up your ego into like what you're doing, you close yourself off from learning. And like Ziggy was saying, Fig McCoy was saying in the chat, you know, whenever you have like retailer calls or whatever, you're like, Jim Lee is genuinely interested in what someone is saying. And I feel like Jim rose to the place that he is not by accident. It's because he listens to the people around him, and he genuinely cares, and he genuinely wants everyone to succeed. And like, people want to be in business with other people like that, you know? Like, he also draws like a freaking god, but I mean, other than that, he's also a really good person. Oh God. Boix, please. This isn't a thing. This, the chucks, the bending around the foot. Whew. Whew. Yeah, so I don't know. That's my Jim Lee story, and I don't, like I said, I don't know if he remembers it or not, but it meant a lot to me at the time. When we worked on, I say we, as if you guys were also working on this with me, but when I did color for a book called Slash and Burn, which was like part of Vertigo relaunch that like was kind of didn't go great back in the day. Like this was like maybe 4 years ago. I remember my editor at the time said like they were like running books by Jim, and he was like, "Hey, coloring's really good in this," and I was like, "Oh man," like I feel like I don't know. There was like, because of that previous moment with him, it kind of like came full circle. I don't know. It was nice. Now you guys know my Jim Lee story. Hopefully there'll be more Jim Lee stories in the future. He's a good dude, and I would like to hang out with him more. But I have to, this is the other thing, is like, he is so important now that, hey, thank you for the follow. Charles Anthony does art. That's great that you do art. You should pop into the Discord and hang out and do sketchbook challenge with us. I want to see some of that art. But yeah, I feel like now, because he's like so busy and so his time is so precious, moments like that probably don't exist as much for him anymore. So basically I have to get on his level to be able to hang out with him and thank him. So we're working on that. We're working up to that. That's why we're doing this. Surprise hangouts with people you admire is always crazy. Yeah. You ended up at the movies with Garth Ennis? Yeah, that's pretty weird. Yeah, I get it. I feel like I'm not, I don't know if this is like, this is kind of like my own bullshit, but like, when it comes to like, I still get like a little starstruck and weird about some people in comics. So a lot of times when people are talking to like very famous people in comics, I tend to like shy away from that conversation. Just because I know that I'm just going to be a goofus. I don't know. So maybe I just need to suck it up and get in those conversations more. What movie did you guys see? I'm scared about how much time is left to shoot an email or something. You're just scared about how much time? No, man, he's like totally healthy. He's like, he's not like the people within comics who are dying now are like golden agers, silver agers. Like Jim Lee is like modern age. He's probably got another like 10 years of making comics just in general before he's even like not making comics. He's only 53. Yeah. U571, it was the worst. What did Garth think of it? I kind of would love it if you were like, it was the worst goddamn movie and Garth loved it. That was like the submarine movie, right? Who are you thinking of? Stan Lee, maybe? Not Jim Lee? Stan Lee likely? Yeah. Yeah, Stan Lee's gonna pass away in like, gosh, like days? Months? Yeah, it's gonna be a rough day when that happens. He's kind of going through the ringer right now anyway with everything he's got going on. We don't have to get into that. So we're gonna put the same kind of rim light on Catwoman. I haven't been talking at all about like what we're actually doing. What time is it? 5:08. I'm going to a thing at 7, so I may need to cut the stream short. Just short of finishing this, which would be terrible actually. But let's hope not. He is pretty old. No one liked it. Yeah, shitty submarine movie. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry about it, G Taicho. This is more a, I mean, it is a comic stream, but it's also like limited knowledge is fine. I didn't start getting into comics until I was like, gosh, like 16. So like when I went to art school for comics, and I was like, this is what I want to do. It was kind of a trip because I definitely did not know everything that everybody else did. I was still learning everything, and so you should never be ashamed about, oh, we're just drawing on the black. You should never be ashamed about, you know, what you don't know. It's fine. Don't talk about anything interesting for the rest of the stream. Like who Iron Man is. Yeah, well, you know, it wasn't Iron Man, it was Iron Fist, first of all. I didn't know who Iron Fist is. And second of all, I still feel like I don't know. I watched all of Iron Fist on Netflix, and I still feel like I don't really know who he is. Because I don't think that was the best foot forward for Iron Fist, to be completely honest. Taking pot shots at Netflix now. Come at me. I don't know. It's fine. I don't know. All right. I gotta figure out what we're doing. Oh man, you hated that show like a lot? Yeah. Yeah, the thing about that show is like I just don't understand why they made it. You know, like he's on the Defenders with you know, Daredevil, but like Daredevil's also a ninja, and then like, so it's just kind of like redundant, and then it's like, well, I don't know, it's like so similar to like what Arrow was doing, and it was also like kind of tone deaf, like magical white guy comes and like does all the stuff to this Asian culture, like white guy shows up and does the best Asian culture thing that the Asian culture can't do on its own. It's just like he's the rich ninja. Yeah. I don't know. I watched the first season of Legion and really loved it. Yeah, just like I don't, and like it's fine. Like I understand like that was the character that was made like way back when, and whatever. But it's like I just like they could have picked a different character. I get it. They want to do the Power Man Iron Fist thing. Like that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to set up. But they could have taken some liberties with it. And it's funny when you watch in that series in the first season. Is there a second season? I don't even know. And you watch him fight that scene with like the drunken master guy. Holy shit, that guy could fight. Like he, like they put a few other Asian roles in it to offset the tone deafness, but nope, the whole show is weak. Yeah, but that one fight, oh, like you could like it really showed that like Danny Rand, like the actor who played him, which I'm sure he was working pretty hard, but like the guy that they got to play the drunken master was like so good that he was a master. And so it made it look like Danny Rand was an idiot, which he kind of is, but like, I don't know. It's such a weird thing. That show exists in like such a weird cultural space. He was the only dude who could fight in real life. It showed. Give you live action Teen Titans, please? Yes. Now we're talking. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. I don't know what the quality is going to be like. I'm excited for it. It's in the DC Direct. So, you know, it's going to happen. Man, I feel like I'm trying to like rush through this stuff now, and I kind of don't want to. Like, I feel like we're going to the reason I'm rushing is because I got a thing at 7. I gotta get ready at some point. I'm actually going to a comic book trivia night, so yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be bad at it because, like I said, I don't know anything. Notario has followed. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I'm doing a comic book trivia night, and I'm sure they're gonna ask a lot of questions about stuff that I don't know. When you get into like really obscure stuff with comics, I just like I'm in the weeds. And we were gonna bring a ringer, buddy of mine, but he ended up ducking out because he got a free pass and a free hotel room for a con that he's gonna go hit up and try to get William Shatner's autograph. So our ringer is gone. With a lot of Beast Boy and Raven or Terra fan service, yes, we're on the same page. That guy was also Shatterstar in the new Deadpool. Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. I wish I knew his name off the top of my head, but I do not. It seems like a dude I should know about, especially if he's doing like multiple things. He wasn't just like one and done. He's like fuck American cinema. But like I watch a lot of random kung fu movies that happen on Louis Tan, yes, that are on Spike TV. Will put, not Spike, fucking El Rey is the channel that I really love. And man, when you get used to watching like good fighters fight, and you know, like, even though it's not real, it's like highly choreographed, but these people are like, they know what they're doing. They're moving around very easily, you know, like all that kind of stuff. When you watch that stuff and then you watch Iron Fist, like that's the caliber that I was expecting was like, LOL Spike. Yeah, I know. The caliber that I was expecting was at least like 1970s kung fu movie. And I like, it didn't even do that. And I was just like, well, I don't know. Maybe this isn't for me. Which is fine. I'm sure there are people who love it. We're getting kind of close, but like I said, I feel like I'm rushing. I feel like we're going to do, we're going to finish it, quote unquote, and then I'm probably like the next stream where we do coloring, we're gonna have like, we're gonna kick off the stream with, did I finish it? Is it done? Are we finished with this? Does it need something? We'll see. When actors can't fight, they do a bunch of close-ups and camera cuts. Makes the fights boring. Yeah. Yeah, because they look at the footage and they're like, well, we can't show this. But it's weird when, like, I feel like Charlie Cox would have been a better Iron Fist. Like, I feel like the Kung Fu in Daredevil is better than the Kung Fu in Iron Fist, and that's like all Iron Fist should be. Like, if you can't get the Kung Fu right, then what do you do? I mean, I don't know. I'm like harping on it, but, like, you know, it is what it is. All right, this is gonna sound weird, but I feel like I rushed through Catwoman's butt, and, like, I feel like her butt is where we should have put most of our time. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. Like, clearly this is like a little bit of fan service, and we should embrace that. But I don't know. Did you guys read the new Catwoman, by the way? Joel Jones wrote it, drew it. It was really good. Had a really good cliffhanger at the end. Read that last night as well. All right, let's do up these goggles. Hey, PUNIP, pump. UIP. God, I'm barely literate. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I was actually thinking about sending Joelle a note because I was like, holy shit, you wrote it. I didn't realize she was like writing and drawing it. And then, like, I got to the end and it was like written by Joel Jones. And I was like, girl is crushing it. So, like, obviously these highlights that I'm putting in for the goggles are a little ridiculous, and they don't really fit with everything else going on, but it's superhero comics, and we can kind of get away with stuff like that. A lot of times colorists will use emphasize that booty though. Yeah, exactly. A lot of times colorists will use stuff like this, like red goggles. I use in Nightwing, like, his symbol on his chest, I'll make it like blue, like that thing is cyan, and the reason for that is because it's like just a visual indication of like where he is on the page at all times. You never lose track of Nightwing in Nightwing's book, you know, and you don't want to lose track of Nightwing in his own book. If you do, then, like, the colorist kind of failed. So yeah, this is looking pretty good though. Let's do some, like, little bit of blue highlight on like the goggles, add like a little bling to it, kind of like offsets like everything else going on. We can actually add a little red highlight, orange highlight. None of that looks right. I was thinking about we could add like a little bit of orange glow to the rim light, but maybe that'll look weird. I think we're gonna call it. I think this page is quote unquote done. Joelle is insanely talented. Yes. I think this page is quote unquote done. Now, I am. there's a caveat to that statement, and that is that I don't know if it's done. I think that what I want to do is kind of like sit on this page for a while. I'm going to post it up in the Discord so that people can see it not filtered through Twitch and all that stuff, and they can check it out on their phone, which usually has a better dynamic color range than their monitor. Their monitor might be a little old or whatever. So yeah, not compressed through Twitch and everything like that. So if you want to see this piece, pop on over to the Discord. And then when we get some fresh eyes on it next week, we can decide if we're really done or if we're just kind of done, maybe. And like, we might tweak a few things here and there, but nothing that's going to like change the overall feel of this piece. One of the things that I'm actually starting to notice now is like, I don't know if this highlight's really doing us. It's kind of all over the place, especially back here in the shoes. And then like, because you start to end up down this rabbit hole of like, if this is highlighted, then like maybe the ledge should be highlighted, which maybe it should. I don't know. I feel like we've put, what, 1 hour, 51 minutes into this? Hey, Erica. Wait, there is no bat symbol? There is. It's just like way up there. This is the bat symbol right here. Yeah, so I feel like it's going to need fresh eyes for me to figure out what's wrong with it. I've been streaming for 1 hour 52, and I talk about this all the time. When you finish something, if you have time and you don't have to like immediately turn it in, don't turn it in yet. Like, if you can sit on it for a day and then like look at it with fresh eyes and fresh perspective, that's usually where you want to be, because there's stuff that you will like visually just kind of get numb to. And then when you sit down and look at it again, it's why like if you draw something and you really, really love it, does Batman have a goatee? I don't think so. No. He's got shadows. If you draw something and you're like, oh, I love this drawing, it's so rad, you're like attached to it. And it's because your decision-making process and your eyes have kind of gotten used to the drawing, and you also are like emotionally wrapped up in it. And then when you come back later, you can look at it with objective eyes and you'd be like, oh, I thought this was better. Like, why am I not into this drawing now? This happens a lot when you get stuff in print. The line art is done. Yeah. So yeah, when you get something in print, you're like into it when you're working on it, and then you get it home. When it finally hits print, you flip through it and you're like, oh, I'm not that into this anymore. That's the same thing going on. Like, you just get this kind of like visual fatigue. So we're going to try to combat that visual fatigue, because I want to do this thing well. Like, I want to knock this out of the park. So join me. We're going to maybe do some tweaks next week. We're going to try to work on some more pages, maybe, unless you guys are sick of comic book pages. Hold on. Give me a second. I was thinking about pulling another page out of the Ultimate Portfolio right here. I was thinking about pulling one of these Bone pages or one of these Stray Bullets pages, because I really love Bone and Stray Bullets, and I feel like there's some dynamic color choices that we can make on these pages, on this page and on this page in particular, that I think are interesting. So we might do that. We might do another pinup if you guys are kind of burnt out on pages, because this took 4 sessions, and I get that. Get burnt out on pages. But we'll figure it out next week. This weekend, I'm going to be playing some point-and-click adventure Murder, She Wrote, and we're going to figure out who all the murderers are. Spoiler alert, they were the friends we made along the way. That's part of the problem with Murder, She Wrote. Anyway, until then, keep making comics. I'll see you this weekend, and we'll get back to making comics during the week next week. See you then.